Hey, thanks again for coming to check us out here today at New York Attorneys. Before we start with the video, I'd just like to make mention of a contest that we're having. And thanks to Bobwhite, go figure, at White's Family Farmhouse, we're running a contest for 30 free quail eggs, free quail hatching eggs every week here on the channel. 30 hatching eggs every week. In order to take part in the contest, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and follow the link in the description to the Facebook group. Once you're a member of the Facebook group, just leave a comment in the official contest thread. So once you subscribe to the channel and join the Facebook group, we're going to pick a winner every week from the Facebook group for the 30 free hatching eggs. Make sure you take part. Thanks again for coming to check us out here today at New York Attorneys. My name is Kenny, as most of you already know, and for those of you who don't, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified in real time whenever we do leave new content on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about New World quail. As opposed to Quaternics quail, we're going to be talking about New World quail. These quail will include, and I'm only going to go over a few, Scaled Quail, the Northern Bobwhite, the Mountain Quail, the Montezuma Quail, and the California Quail. So let's get started. So it turns out that New World quail are only distantly related to Old World quail. The Old World quail, like the Quaternics, are more closely related to the pheasant. They're in the pheasant family. And we're going to go over a couple of these birds again, like I mentioned today. Now, the New World quail and the Old World quail are only named the same pretty much because of their similar appearance and behaviors. All right, so let's get started with the California quail. The California quail, or the Calipepla californica, is the state bird of, you guessed it, California. So the California quail happens to digest its vegetation with the help of a protozoa in its intestine. The California quail chick doesn't have this protozoa, so it must pick at the feces of the adult in order to be able to properly digest its food. California quail. So several California quails made mixed broods after hatching, and all of the adults take care of the young. This happens to be a community effort, and it turns out that the quail who live this way live longer than the quail who don't live this way. Life choices. So male and female California quails communicate in the way that we call antiphonally, which means that their calls alternate and create beautiful music. So the feather on top of the California quail's head is actually 6 feathers if you take a closer look. It does look like 1, but it's actually 6. Now, because of the fact that these birds live in some arid conditions, they've adapted to be able to eat vegetation and not depend on water. As long as they have green vegetation, they can go without water. But of course, when it's extra hot outside and there's sustained heat, they do have to find water to survive, and they can't depend on the vegetation alone. Now, the California quail also is guilty of something called egg dumping. And basically what this is a female bird laying an egg in another bird's nest. As a result of this, these nests can have clutches of up to 25 to 30 eggs. The California quail has been successfully introduced to other parts of the world, including Europe, Hawaii, and New Zealand. So California quail live on average about a year, and that's only because they're a prey species. They're basically preyed upon from the time that they're laid as eggs. The oldest California quail known lived to about 6 years and 11 months, but that was in captivity. And then there's the Northern Bobwhite quail. So the Northern Bobwhite quail is the state bird of Georgia, Missouri, and Tennessee. Just like the Quaternics, because of its history as a game bird, the Northern Bobwhite happens to be one of the most clinically studied game birds in the world. The Northern Bobwhite is separated into 22 different subspecies, and we're going to end up having to do a video on those later because I'm definitely not going to go into detail on all the Bobwhites today, but we're going to go over the Northern Bobwhite. Some of the fossils of the Northern Bobwhite have been found to be over 2.5 million years old. The northern bobwhite is also a near threatened species. The population has been declining since 1966. The northern bobwhite was also thought to be monogamous until researchers started radio tracking them. Turns out they have multiple mates over the course of one season. The northern bobwhite is also known as the Virginia quail. The oldest known bobwhite on record was about 6 years and 5 months old. They do have a short lifespan, but they breed very prolifically, so they do make up for that short lifespan. And next, let's talk about the mountain quail. The mountain quail is the largest quail in the United States. So the plumage of the mountain quail will give you a clue as to its mood and state. If you see a mountain quail with its plumage all smooth and whatnot, you can trust that this mountain quail is in a calm mood. But if you see it spiked up and its feathers all ruffled, it is a sign that that bird is at alert. So in the late 1800s, hunters released a whole lot of mountain quail on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. These birds thrived there for more than 100 years, going all the way into 1970, but by 1990, for some odd reason, happened to pretty much completely disappear. And then we have the scaled quail. The scaled quail is also called the blue quail because of the plumage on its breast and back. Now these are small birds and they do live in coveys, and they sleep in a circular pattern facing outward to protect themselves from predators at night. Now with the scaled quail, there always seems to be more juvenile females than males, but by the time they're adults, it flips around and there's always more males than females. And the reason for this is not known to this day. And then we have the Gambel's quail. The Gambel's quail is named after the 19th century explorer William Gambel, who explored the southwestern United States. In the late 1950s to the early 1960s, the Hawaiian Division of Fish and Game did release a lot of these birds into the wild on all of the islands, and a few of them still remain. So just before the eggs are hatched, the female Gambel's quail will call out to the chicks, which are still inside of the egg. Each one of the chicks inside of the egg will call back in turn and start hatching in turn. They start chipping away at the largest part of the egg until they create pretty much a door pushing themselves out of the egg. And last but not least, we have the Montezuma Quail. So the Montezuma Quail, by habit, will stay still and crouch when there's danger, but will burst into flight whenever danger is too close. So you can count on these birds to be very flushable in the case of hunting. Hunting dogs have been known to flush these birds out, and you know the rest. Now the Montezuma Quail has also been known as the Harlequin Quail and the Fool's Quail, also the Mearns Quail, and it was named after the naturalist Edgar Alexander Mearns. During the non-breeding season, Montezuma Quail also tend to stay in very small groups. Groups of no more than 25 have been reported, but they stay in very small groups other than that. The oldest known Montezuma Quail lived to be about 8 years old, but again, that was in captivity. We have no official record on the oldest Montezuma Quail in the wild. Thank you once again for coming to check us out here today at New York Attornics. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave those below. Also, leave a like for the video and please subscribe to the channel for more. Hit that notification bell so you're notified anytime we do leave new content on the channel. We also have a Facebook group. The link for that is down below in the description. That's facebook.com/groups/NYCOTURNIX. Make sure you come join the Facebook group so you know ahead of time whenever we do have events happening on the channel. Thanks again from New York Attornics.